support. Please support. Thank you for watching. The scarcity of the world is not of time, nor energy, nor money, but of mutual solutions. Solutions are unlimited because solutions are actually unlimited, but we are so limited um, because we are not giving back enough to our sources of solutions. And communism, of course, when there's a part of the economic network that is trying to build up momentum, but the the momentum is being dispersed to other people, that could destroy the momentum, of course. And communism is dispersing to just anybody. If the amount is small, I think there's the merit of presence there, but you cannot just disperse resources to just about anybody just to have equal outcome, because equal outcome is not fair in my opinion. You have different performance, different problem solving, different problems that are solved. So you say, oh, this guy work hard, this guy worked just as hard as you, therefore he or she deserves just as much as you. I think you gotta look at the problems that are solved. Like someone work really hard, but the problem that it's solved, he solved only like 50 problems. Someone works not as hard, but like compared to that one only work half as hard, but the problem he or she solved is 3,000. I mean, it's fair, I think, if the person got like 300 times more, right? And um 3,000 divided by 50, 300 by divided by 5 is 60. Okay, 60 times more, my bad. So yeah, that is a problem. And if we have a common understanding of that, and we we understood we have understood that, we can focus on giving back royalties, right, to doctors and to teachers. Now this is also a problem where when you give out royalties to these people, you would be dispersing it like throwing salt into the ocean, like shining a flashlight towards the sun. But I don't think so. I believe that when you use problem solving as a measure, like for example royalties based on sales, for example, sales may GDP. So we know that a lot of people say that GDP is not perfect measure of problem solving, because there are, like, you produce stuff that are useless, like spamming the economy with stuff that is useless is also a problem. But I mean, um like, it's pretty the in order to measure problem solving, basically we use sales, right? It's not perfect, but that is what we use. So based on GDP, based on sales, we measure the royalties. I think that is decent, right? um but money is also not everything. For example, health, like a doctor heals your disease. It is always nice. Like for example, in the village, you would if you live in the village, you would understand that there are some people, after they got harvest, they got a good harvest in their field, they would visit people in their houses and share their produce, right? or maybe they process it first and give like one of the best to the to God, of course, to God, and then to the people that are helpful in the village. And I think that is something that we should be able to scale up in the city as well. I think that is what sustains society all throughout history, that where people who have perpetual contribution, that is real, guys, like invention, life-saving stuff. You might argue every single like food, every single food you eat contributes to your future. That is true. If that is true and you want to reward restaurants, for example, or nutritionists that inspires you, I don't think that is not logical. That is, in my opinion, is logical. Given the scarce resources that we have right now, I think scarce resources that we have right now, people would make different priorities, and that, you know, that's going to be their personality. Okay, and then we come to justice, right? The issue of justice. What is justice? I think everyone wants to be prosperous, right? um so I think you also want to take care of people of the future, like your kids, your grandkids. So if you're just like spamming resources, you take resources from the safe government's treasury and hand it out to everybody, you cannot say that it is justice, that it is prosperity. Because the issue is it sustainable? Are people going to use it sustainably and responsibly? Because there's the justice when we are all prosperous. That is justice, right? And justice is not just 1 year. You can have a party, whole party for 1 year, but then the next year everyone poor. That is not justice, right? That is not just. And so injustice is evil. Injustice is misallocation of resources, right? So that is the issue, where what your personality should be always be corrected for the sake of justice, right? And um, another thing that I think about is like in the future, people, I think the technology of math is improving. We know that like the robotics, I'm not even talking about AI, right? I'm talking about the calculation power of chips is becoming exponentially greater in one way or the other. And that could calculate probably with the weather, the fluid dynamics, right? And then you would be eventually you're gonna be able to pinpoint the matter that has already been burned out. You know, like those who have been consumed by fire. Hopefully, in the future, there's a technology that could reconstruct, you know, from using math and evidence data that exists in the surroundings. We can measure dust, the velocity, the momentum, and everything. And we can, you know, that isn't that crazy? We can reconstruct an object, and eventually we can reconstruct biological matter and biological life. And if that happen, guys, if a brain is reconstructed consistent to history, right? Would that person be alive again? Right? And then that is the when justice come in. You think about, oh, if I become if like if I think about the sustainability of the next 70 years, right? What's going to happen beyond 70 years? What's going to happen beyond 300 years? Am I going to take care of it? So there is this issue in Indonesia, in the Mentawai Island, right? The government gave license to destroy the jungle. This is pretty important. And there's an activist there, I think a white lady that actually can speak Indonesian really well. She's Jo sudah in Bahasa Indonesia. And I think I admire this woman, but I just got it from the video that is sent to me, so I don't know the details. It's not like in YouTube you got the name of the channel, the name of the person, and everything. So I don't really know who she is, but she explained it really well what happened, even though pretty short, not comprehensive. But there is a tribe of people, traditional, like thousands of years, using thousands of years of what can I say, a lifestyle that they're preserving. So we know that, is it like uh, intellectual property that's trying to preserve indigenous people? We are going, not only we're going to face deforestation, but also an ancient lifestyle that is being threatened right here, like world history stuff. And I think when it comes to justice, it is not just being able to build a factory and make things easier to a lot of people, but it is also justice. Justice is also about sustainability of values. So if we have, like, how would you feel if your own civilization, if your own culture is being not prioritized just for the sake of producing cotton, for example, just for the sake of producing oil? I think that is the meaning, because there are a lot of emotional investment, like civilization legacy that comes in it. And the lady also said that these are good people. These are not cannibals. I would, like, I paraphrase it, that these people are not cannibals, right? Something like that. These people are not like warmongers. They live peacefully. They have work life balance. And I like, wow, this is something valuable to be documented, to be observed, and to see how they're gonna scale up throughout time. Just like any other indigenous, or maybe like modern civilization, it is as valuable to like, to preserve these memories. But that is justice, right? In 300 years, in 1000 years, we're gonna, what is the best prosperity, not just for you, but also for people with different point of views than you, because you're like, it is actually amazing that a human being only have two eyes, one nose, right, one tongue, that we are so limited that valuing other point of view is actually a merit. It's actually something that is as if like uh, we are made to work together to achieve perfection, to achieve a higher achievement. If we only rely on our senses, it is not enough. So connection and network, and the topology of the network, it is as if something that we are born to learn. It is something that we are born to design. It's something that we are that is what drives our further evolution, right? So is it justice that just for the sake of factories, just for the sake of export import, maybe, or like what do you call it, like when you have more export than the other country, I remember it. I most of the time I remember, but this time it escapes my mind. Like the Chinese people probably has the most of that, but like even though that is a win, right, there are other point of views of winning as well. Like for example, if you imported a lot of gold, imported a lot of lithium and nickel, that is a win, right? Even though you're trading surplus, right, you're in a trading deficit, and like your counterparts is in a surplus, yes, they win, of course, right? But that is you also win, so it is a win-win situation. You lose in terms of trade deficit, that is a lose, that's fine, right? There's another point of view where you win. So I think you cannot just have one point of view and then you would want to destroy a legacy, right? Something that's going to be a legend in the future. And that is so, I don't understand why do you do that. Like I think these people, these traditional indigenous people, they can live happily. They have an ecosystem. They have enough for their life. Why can't you be more like them, right? Uh, we live in a city. We have a lot of resources. They could only dream to have access to the resources that we have, but we are still in lacking. That is so much of a waste. Where did all of this value goes? um, Money cannot measure the value that we have lost. We are supposed to be much richer from the indigenous people, but we are so poor that we want their territory. We need to expand into their territory. How poor are us, right? And it is just embarrassing, guys. We don't need to do that. And justice is really like our next evolution. I do believe that. And come on, if we are just be honest, let's just be honest to ourselves. Justice is hard. It is not an easy thing, right? So it's like so cheap that you wouldn't prioritize justice. Like I mean, it's very smart. It could be very sophisticated. It could require 3,000 IQ to be able to do what you do. But still, if you do it, if you can prioritize justice, right, it is something that is more eternal. And and eternity for you and for me is real. I do believe that it is like mathematically the way the world is that what is the truth, right? You can derive the past from an equation, from data. So you can derive the truthful past from data. I mean, it is inevitable that in the future we are going to suffer the consequences of the people of the past, or we would enjoy the consequences of the people of the past. And it is inevitable. It is just the reality of the things that we are living on. So what if the people of the past are us? What if the little kid that is going to be born 1,000 years later, not born, I don't know, like the human that are going to live and enjoy life 1,000 years later are us? So we're gonna blame ourselves for what we have done. So I think guys, you know, justice is always a priority. I know it's hard, but as an adult, we should have learned a lot from years of our lives, and we should have our own style already to be able how to be able um, to be responsible and to take care of things, to leave things better than before, at least, right, a little bit better than before, so that we don't make things worse, right? It is an adult thing to be able to be fluent in that. And maybe, you know, just be, I don't know, you want to say just be a good person. I don't think that is that conveys the message well. Um I think you should pay attention to what is evil and not, and you should fear the network or the economy of evil. Again, evil is like misallocation of resources. I think people should not play around with evil. I think it's like it can bite you where you least expect it. So we are all improving. I'm not going to say that I will never do things that are evil. That evil, I am immune to evil. But because of that, I think people also should help each other, not to make things harder to be good. Just, good, bad. You know what I mean? Good is bad. Good is good. Bad is bad. Basic. That's the basic. Can we have like the very basic things first so that we can focus on other things? But if like even the society just are not together in the most basic things, good, evil, like the very basic thing, please. How are we going to scale up um to the highest of the highest technology? I think, like, please, this is like, I know it's so boring, I already know that, right? This is something like, why are you saying that, like, as if we are so stupid? But I think I'm saying that just to find common common sense between people, and then from there we can complete each other with our own technology of the mind. But if we don't agree on um, like the target, right? I think people are going to be like keeping secrets and like lie to each other and stuff, like hostile against each other. So like the first things first, right? Always like, okay, I want to I care about justice. It is just something that it is something that I started with when I want to make things happen and to cooperate. I care about that. So a lot of people are not anymore, doing that. I think that is essential, guys. I think, guys, it is essential that people would yeah, I think it's essential that people would pledge allegiance to that. But um but it came across as dismissive of people suffering. All right, a lot of people are victims, so they become evil, right? And that is just something that are going to be dangerous. If you That is just the reason for people to attack other people, right? if they cannot become if they cannot become a victim anymore, it is as if their entitlement is being taken away. It's like their property is being jeopardized. I think, of course, I can say the cliche things, which is like property exists within justice, and outside of justice, that's not my fault, right? But yeah, I do. I'm not gonna not acknowledge that people's suffering forces people to do things that are not prescribed as good. So how do you solve that, right? How do you solve that? Um, I think that we got to be honest, right? The first thing that you got to do is to acknowledge the reality. So how are you going to really solve a problem if you do not acknowledge the reality of things? Because do you remember in school when you try to solve a math problem, you have already a plan in your head, right? This is how you solve it. But when you write it down, when you write the equation, you realize, oh, if you change the things around like this and like that, oh, actually, this is just a trick, right? The first thing is was just an illusion. So this sense that you're like, oh, I know, I already know. But it's actually when you write it down, when you say it out loud, uh, oh, there are details that I can get into, but before I wasn't, I wasn't putting it into the equation. I think when you when you do a spoken word, like when you say things as it is, it kind of relieve some of the burden that is in your RAM, and it will be helpful for you to process things better. So if you if you say things irresponsibly or indirectly in a manner that cannot be attributed, I think that takes up more RAM. Yeah, because there's so many ambiguity, and also there's a discipline where you are not supposed to attribute, which is hostile and also unnecessary and infuriating. So just say things as it is, have a proper attribution, and then after that be able to identify, right? What are the things that are you're going to identify next that is meant for you, that is the path of your faith. Okay, otherwise you would not get there. I just say the spoken word, and then after that you will, oh, this is okay, the next thing is this, oh, this is related to this, and you make a connection, and then you would feel like, oh, these smarter people are already know. But even if they could live your life better, they didn't live your life. You are the one who is living your life. So you're the one who's supposed to go there. Why aren't you go there? Just because they're gonna bully you? Um, I don't know, guys. So after you say that, right, it can be figured out, right? The solution of why you shouldn't be evil, or why you should be less evil, even though you're a victim, right? There's a good idea. There's a better idea than what is going on right now, or what you are doing right now. Like what people deemed you to do. And you know what? And you're like, oh, people I actually know something more than what people thought they knew. And then from there on, you can plead your case, or maybe you are like, okay, you know what? This is me. This is my life. I'm going to do the things that I want. And your expectations is something that you should correct of me, right? Your expectation of me is something that you should correct because of such and such reasons. And from there on, right, we can build up a momentum of a culture, of of a of an energy, right? An energy to be able to pull and push influence, and therefore not only dictated by the most powerful, but what's the most reasonable, and what's the most just, and what's the most liberating. I think in history, for example, things like this are written in the constitutions of countries, of independent countries. Like most people would know from media that the Americans have done this, and they also the country that um, constitutionalized the freedom from slavery and things like that. uh, in the past it was real, guys. It was really real. And nowadays the corporate culture may come across as in support of those slavery principles, and we could, like, not build those momentum up, whereas in the future our children, our grandchildren, even us, is going to be dictated by the people who who cannot be corrected, right? And that is just there is a lot of real dystopians out there, like uh, like the government of dictatorship. Those are dystopian, right? And we can stop that from happening. Okay. That's my opinion, and I've talked half an hour. Thank you for watching, and goodbye.